Alright, we're back. I don't think I did an update on what we actually did here. So, initially we were actually planning on building a little bit of a trench right here, just for the water to drain. But then I said, listen, if all this water is going to be slushing down here, it'll be going to flood the patio. So I didn't want to do that. So then we kind of came up with this parabolic shape idea, where the water would just kind of channel down here, and everything that's coming out of that through these extenders is going to come down this way. So you can see we kind of made the slope on this guy a little bit too shallow here, well, too steep here and then too shallow here, so it's actually not draining, but there's a lip here, so we knew that might be a problem for draining. But it rained a couple of days ago, weather's been a little cold, so it hasn't been drying up, but we'll figure out how to regrade this later on. But it seemed to be accomplishing what we needed to. Regarding the rest of it, so I had, remember, the rubber seal all around the house. You can see it's like really smooth, and I painted over it. But now I'd like to actually stucco this so that it kind of meets up towards the bottom here, so it looks a little bit more finished. Down there it doesn't really need to be done, but starting like in this corner where I chipped off a little bit too much of the original stucco, up here obviously, and all around the bottom, and then we'll patch some of these other holes here, and especially by the sprinklers there's a big chunk missing. Obviously some of it I can fill it up with dirt, but I do want to have some stucco. Hopefully it sticks to the paint. Actually, I'm not sure what will happen here, because I did paint it just to make it look a little bit nicer. But now I'm ready to kind of move on and kind of finish it off. For the stucco, I'm just using the pre-mixed stuff. This Pro Pre-Select Ready Mix stucco patch. Literally just open it up. It's going to be a paste, kind of like toothpaste. Just get a couple of these guys, you know, scrape it up, and then make it flush with this edge. So I'll have to put in quite a bit of stucco in there, but I think I have enough. Well, maybe not in here, but I still have another one. But I think I bought two at a time. But so just mix it up, stucco it up, let it dry, and then repaint. And hopefully it sticks to the paint. These flakes that you see here. So obviously the tape I taped it up because I was painting. I didn't want to paint the concrete and everything around. But the flakes I actually used. Let's see. I used a wire brush and this scraper tool to scrape off some of the paint off of the wall. You know, it was just like flaky and peeling. So when I was actually rolling the paint on, it was sticking to the roller and, you know, kind of falling off. So I just went around and scraped off where the flaky bits were, and then repainted over it. So it looks pretty good. You know, we splashed some concrete on the wall in places. For the stucco component, you can see like the finishing on the stucco is kind of like, you know, if somebody took a sweeping broom and kind of brushed over it. So I'll try to replicate it, just again so it looks a little bit more finished and even, not like somebody patched, you know, a whole corner of the house. Will probably be a little bit tricky, but we'll see. You have to get it right at the right moment, so it's still not too wet, but dry enough to where you can put some of this pattern into it. Alright, enough blabbing, let's get to work. So what this looks like is a tedious process. Basically, you know, putting it on there, kind of scraping it up, making sure that the outer edge is kind of flat-ish, but the thickness up on top is obviously more than on the bottom right now, because I'm just kind of dragging it up this way. I'm just filling it in. I'm going to need a few more of these containers that I have. Like I said, I have one more. I'm not sure it'll be enough. Start filling in kind of this part of the corner here and this part of the corner here for now. Might have to let this dry, because this paste, if it's too thick, it'll probably take too long to dry, so I'll probably let it dry and then come back and do another layer. Alright, I've gone through 1 and probably a third tubs of this. I mean, these are not large. These are like 32 fluid ounces. It's about 1 quart. So this is the shape that it's starting to take up here. So this corner, it's getting to be a little bit thick here, more than like a 1/4 inch. So I just need to let it dry and then I'll come back This stuff is like concrete or mortar mix-ish, so if you're expecting to just lay it on kind of sloppily and then sand it down or do something like that, you won't be able to do it. Yeah, it'll harden like concrete like this, and then you'll just have to chisel it off. So as I'm trying to shape it as I'm laying it on, but I'll probably have to do another like small layer so I can straighten it out. Here you can see there's still like a dip here. It's more filled in here than on the bottom because I've been kind of scraping it upward from there. It's kind of how it looks like all around. And at the very bottom, once I'm done, I'm just gonna seal it with some concrete caulking all around, actually. Here. In there, I am probably gonna do some of it down maybe an inch or two, maybe down to this level, and then probably just put more dirt in there. So sealed this area, stuccoed this little area here, and then started stuccoing this part, and then I kind of ran out. So, and then we can chisel some of this stuff off just to make it look a little neater. But it's looking good, Just a lot of work, a lot of layers, a lot of days, a lot of hours. But it's starting to take shape. Alright, so we're slowly but surely getting there. This was probably, 3 days of work? Just because I'm applying it in such cold and at night, and then it doesn't have enough time to set. So while this thing, normally set time is 2 to 4 hours or so, this thing probably takes about 12. It sits in like 30, 40, 50 degree weather. But while it's setting, I am actually able to take sandpaper and kind of smooth it out, because otherwise when I'm applying this, it's like patchy and lumpy, so to speak. It's not super smooth. So after it sets, though, it's really hard. I still have probably a little bit more to fill on the bottom here. This stuff here, you can see this stuff is what I've sanded off, so to speak, to get it smooth. So this is all loose. I'll just vacuum it up. Probably do a little bit more just down on the bottom there, and then paint. So I've been sanding here, you can tell. This is just paint that I've sanded, but I'll just repaint it. And then to take the eye a little bit off of it, what we did is we got these flower boxes, flower beds, whatever they're called, at Home Depot. That would look really cool. That's redwood box that I made here for when we're pouring the concrete, and just so that we don't pour concrete over these pipes and connectors. But these I think would fit really well here on this side as well as on that side. So most of this, I think patching is done. That, I didn't do it too pretty, so to speak, but I'll just paint over it, sand it down maybe a little bit, paint over it, and fill this up with rocks and dirt, up to about here. The rest of this stuff also didn't really make too pretty down here. We'll also just paint, maybe smooth it out a little bit more, just paint over it, again, fill this up with some more dirt and rocks, so it wouldn't really be noticeable. So compared to what this was, like making this straight, like making this as a corner was actually pretty difficult. Like, this stuff is not super simple to work with, and what I found is it actually works better to use a larger one of these, like this size, rather than the smaller one, because the smaller one, it just applies too much pressure here, and then it just creates a divot, and it's not uneven. But blending it into this, I don't think will be possible. But it's shaping up pretty nicely. The bottom there needs a little bit more work, but this stuff is pretty smooth.